Starting up this list in our number 10 spot. Okay, so at the beginning of this video, while nothing super creepy happens, the whole vibe of the video is just unsettling. There's like some sort of puppet looking doll who seems like maybe they're hosting a children's show. They ask if you would like to sing with them and then they begin singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which should just be harmless, right?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Please do come again.
After the song ends and the screen fades to black, the exact same sequence repeats. The screen then fades to black again, and the sequence begins again, but this time the puppet has no eyes and ends up not singing the song at all, but just looking creepy with its no eyes.
Oh, hi. Sure is dark out. Would you want to sing with me?
We then hear some sort of alarm sound as a strange sort of photograph barely comes across the screen. If this wasn't enough, to end off the video, we just see the puppet's head floating with an extremely disturbing smile on its face. The audio is a little distorted, but it's telling some weird story about their dad and them asking for a toy, but their dad says no.
Can I have a toy? No. He says, you are a bad boy.
All in all, I have no idea what is going on in this video, but I feel like I might be cursed after watching it. Moving on to number 9. This video comes from someone who took a video searching around a place called Satan's Bridge. But before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. It begins with someone showing a bunch of animal carcasses, which obviously I'm not going to show here, that have just been left around from possible sacrifice ceremonies that may have taken place in this area. He continues to search the place and ended up recording some footage that I think does an amazing job at capturing the uncomfortable feeling that this place holds. I wish I could know all of the stories that this bridge holds, but I feel like it may be for the best that they remain hidden. The guy filming finds some more evidence of things that could point to satanic rituals being held, and honestly, I'm impressed that he was able to stick around exploring for so long, because I would have been out of there immediately. Moving on in our number 8 spot. The people who posted this video explained that they received coordinates on the dark web. When they traveled to the coordinates, they found this tape that we're going to be talking about, as well as a collection of other things, all said to belong to a killer. I feel like this tape would have still been creepy without knowing the backstory, but it is 1,000 times creepier having those details. The video is fairly long, and while not a lot happens in it, there's certainly something sinister going on. It is basically just a video of a guy digging a hole with a shovel. We hear him in his car as he arrives at the location, we hear him digging, and you can even see him pick up an object wrapped in a black garbage bag and put it into the hole. You can't really see him. In fact, you can't see much, but there's definitely enough to know what is going on. All I have to say is I really hope that this video is fake. Moving on to number 7. You guys, I'm not gonna lie, I have absolutely no idea what is going on in this video, and I don't even know if I want to find out. First, it starts off with another puppet named Sophia, and then suddenly cuts to this creepy masked figure. What was that? Again, I have no idea. We then cut to some blurred out creepy clown face that is calling for someone named Macy, and honestly, I hope Macy runs in the opposite direction.
Macy! I order you to come here right now!
The video then cuts to what looks like a tied up clown with more creepy dialogue, and then cuts back to the clown face from before, but is more visible this time. In the end, it cuts back to Sophia and she asks if we want to sing a song with her, and then that's the end. Honestly, I was happy to reach the end of this video because it had me very creeped out. Moving on to number 6. This video was apparently filmed in 1988 and was found in a scary abandoned log cabin deep in a forest in Poland a few decades later. The footage shows whoever is operating the camera walking around filming the log cabin. They end up getting to an open window and are kind of focused on it and studying it when all of a sudden, out of the blue, it just snaps shut. At the same time, a paranormal sounding yell can be heard, but no one is around and the camera goes blank. I'm not exactly sure what happened here, but I would have been out of the cabin as fast as I could possibly go. Moving on to number 5. This video comes from 2001 and shows a group of teenagers who are trying to summon a spirit while of course recording it for the camera. They start in a circle all holding hands with their eyes closed and one of their friends in the center of the circle. They're trying to get the spirit to contact them through the friend that's in the middle, but things start to go awry when one of the friends holding hands in the circle collapses.
Então, ai caraças, posso destino.
At first his friends think that he's just playing around with them, but then he starts convulsing and everyone gets extremely freaked out. After he gets up from the floor, he is not only acting scary, but his posture has certainly changed and everyone else who is there is rightfully extremely scared.
Espíritos prontos.
Sustino. Não sustino, caralho.
Céu, não sei, eu vou chamar o ti. Eu gosto de me dar Céu!
Opa, não lhe toque, caraças, diz.
Oh meu Deus.
Olha as costas dele, meu. Olha as costas dele.
The video shows the rest of the boys being super frightened by their now possessed friend's scary behavior, and they're just trying to figure out what to do.
Até uma hora, Nelson, desculpa lá, porque o meu filho não pode ser pela estrada, deixas aqui o André e o céu. A gente volta, né? E não tem coragem de ir à procura deles agora com o Fox, né, Gabriel? Eles são meus irmãos, gosto bem deles. Mas fica de dia, pá.
By the end of the video, their real friend has luckily come back to them, but he doesn't remember anything that happened to him. Moving on to number 4. This footage comes from Paraguay. It was taken on a camcorder that had some spots filmed over by other family members. The audio and the video ended up getting blended and corrupted and just left us with this footage that looks like it could be straight out of a horror movie. Because it's so messed up, I really don't know what is going on, but I'll show you some of the video so that you can see what I mean. I don't know why, but that one kid who looks like they're sitting on top of a roof really freaks me out. Coming in at number 3. This video was posted to TikTok by a user named Sarah Turney. I've spoken about Sarah in another video of mine and how she used TikTok to help her close the case of her sister's disappearance. When Sarah was young, her sister Alyssa went missing and no one was ever charged with the crime, but Sarah always knew it was her dad and set out to prove it and have him charged so that she could bring justice for her sister. Sarah released some VHS footage on TikTok that ended up going absolutely viral. Apparently her dad would follow Alyssa around and film her, and later they found out that he had cameras hidden in their house, which is just very bizarre behavior. This video is one of many that Sarah posted on TikTok and shows when her dad followed Alyssa to her fast food job and was sitting in the parking lot filming her. While this video is super creepy on its own, since it's very obvious that she doesn't want to be filmed, it's even more creepy considering all we know now. Luckily, Sarah's TikToks worked. Near the end of 2020, her dad actually ended up being arrested and charged with the disappearance and presumed death of Alyssa, which is a huge win for Sarah. Moving on to number 2. This VHS tape was found at an estate sale that was being held in a barn. The person who uploaded this tape found them among the 10 boxes that they had purchased, among other things such as records, rusted tools, and old paint cans. This video shows someone walking through some sort of mildly wooded area in the daytime, which, okay, yeah, fine. But then it cuts to a night scene and it just really leaves me with an uncomfortable feeling. I have absolutely no idea what the white thing being dragged is, but I absolutely do not want to find out. Moving on to our number 1 spot. This video was found under a bridge in Russia. It shows what sounds like a teenager filming the video while riding his bike up to the underside of this bridge. A very strange noise can be heard as he is approaching. This brave soul continues to stick around and investigate the sound further before something pretty scary happens.
Слышите? Ёпта. Сука. Что? Ты кто это? Кто это? Кто это?
I don't know what that sound was or what happened to that boy, but I really hope he made it out of there because that video did not end well.
In our number 10 spot we have Superman or UFO. You may not know this, but all of the top secret government information gets declassified after 25 years. Yes, after it's basically useless to know, as I'm sure there is much more relevant information to note. But sometimes, every so often, the government drops us little breadcrumbs to keep us on our toes. Whether the CIA is okay with it, well, we will never know. But earlier this year, 2022, a press conference was held to speak about some recent footage showing unidentifiable objects in the sky. This first video shows an object in the sky that's just sort of floating by, and then all of a sudden it zooms out of frame. The government has put more money into the study of this unidentifiable aerial object in the last while, but they still have no idea what is flying in this video. Is it not a bird or plane? And no, it is not Superman. I wish. Only of course if it's Henry Cavill though. Boy is he dreamy. This footage was out to the public more than a year ago before the Pentagon revealed that it's legitimate, and they probably only did so because of the pressure from the public to tell the truth. In our number 9 spot we have the US Navy UFO footage. Again. Apparently the US Navy recorded some aerial footage where you see triangles flashing in the sky. The footage is recorded with night vision goggles, and it came right after the Navy reported a number of unidentifiable objects in the area off the US coast. What exactly these objects are remains unsolved. Clearly they are UFOs, but of course the CIA and the government will do everything they can to avoid saying those words. If it ain't from this planet, then it must be from somewhere else. I bet you an alien will actually land here at some point and they'll still be hesitant to admit the truth. An unidentifiable being was seen walking around, they'll say. In our number 8 spot we have Kenny Veach. This is a video of a guy by the name of Kenny Veach who went missing after going for a hike near the infamous Area 51. This video gained some popularity because in it, Kenny described that he was searching for a mysterious cave that he once came across where he felt a very strange force field around it. He described how he felt like he was getting hot from the inside, and as he got closer to it, it got worse, and so he quickly ran away. In this video, he's on the hunt for the cave again, but after the video was posted, Kenny went missing. He was on a 3-day hiking trip to find this cave when suddenly everyone stopped hearing from him. There are many conspiracy theories over this. Some say he found the cave, and if it really did have that force field around it, then it could have obliterated him. People believe that this cave and force field is linked to the mysteriousness of Area 51. Even though Kenny's girlfriend shared that Kenny had depression and suspects that he took his own life, we don't know if that's real or not, as the CIA could be covering up for the fact that Kenny found a way into Area 51. It's super sus that everyone's seemingly on to something, just takes their own life. In our number 7 spot, we have Isaac Kappy. Isaac Kappy is an American actor that was best known for being in Thor and a bunch of other prominent productions. He's also best known for being a Hollywood whistleblower and speaking about what goes on in Hollywood. You know, the Harvey Weinstein goings on, that kind of thing. Calling out such names as Seth Green and Steven Spielberg. Isaac started to receive death threats and spoke about how he might be killed. Then all of a sudden he made a video talking about how there's now darkness within him and that this video would be his last video. He also spoke about how he was not thinking about taking his own life, in case anyone says that he is, which is what makes this video even more curious. There is much speculation as to whether he ended up taking his own life or whether he was actually killed. All that's clear is this last video of him and all of his YouTube content has been suppressed online. Why? Perhaps because they don't want what he previously spoke about to be public knowledge. Perhaps. In our number 6 spot, we have Obama's security shapeshifter. In 2012, at the US-Israel Policy Conference, President Obama was making a speech, and while he was doing so, the cameras caught something very extraordinary. Every so often, the cameras would pan out into the audience and show the audience, of course, but also the security guards. In one shot, the camera catches one of the bodyguards from behind, looking completely different than he did from the front. We see a bald man with no ears and a pointy chin. His nose looks short and rounded and his eyes appear to be dark and sunken in. Most think that because it was so dark and crowded that people would have missed this and that the camera caught this shapeshifter in a blip of a moment in its true form. But of course, this footage has been suppressed from the public and people believe the CIA is concerned with this getting out because it confirms an alien race. In our number 5 spot, we have the time traveler from 1938. In this clip, we see a group of girls walking and talking, and one of the girls in particular is walking and talking into what looks to be a cell phone. Yes, a cell phone in 1938. The first cell phone is only known to have been invented in 1973, so the fact that she's talking on what looks to be a flip phone is impossible. Right? Well, even though this video has made its rounds online, it's still quite suppressed and it's surprising how people have still not seen it. Could it possibly be due to the fact that it exposes that time travel may exist? That would certainly be concerning to the CIA. Which brings me to our number 4 spot, the 1928 time traveler. This video clip is from an older movie and time than the time traveler clip before, but it is no less suspicious. It is yet another clip that has been suppressed due to the nature of it possibly being concerning to the CIA or anyone wanting time travel to be covered up. It's a clip from a Charlie Chaplin movie called The Circus, where a rather fancy dressed woman is talking into a device that is being held to her ear. Now you could say, could that not be a walkie-talkie if not a cell phone? Nope. Even the walkie-talkie wasn't invented until the 30s. This woman is without a doubt talking into a device held to her ear, and so if it is not a portable phone, then I have no idea what it is. What do you think she's holding in her hand and talking to? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. In our number 3 spot, we have the alleyway shapeshifter. Okay, this is one of the craziest videos I've ever seen of a shapeshifter, and it's wild to me that this video has been suppressed. Well, maybe not wild, because I guess the shapeshifters clearly don't want people to know that they exist, and so, you know, they throw themselves into movie plots like Captain Marvel so you don't think twice about the idea of their existence, and you chalk it up to an idea being something that you just see in movies. So I suppose it's not that surprising that this video is not more known. Anyways, here we have footage of a person that goes into an alleyway that is semi-lit and stands still, and then what appears to be a dark shadow leaves its body and walks away, and the person remains frozen. This clip has been heavily debated for some time now, but apparently it's completely authentic and kinda unexplainable. Of course, the CIA would be concerned about it. In our number 2 spot, we have the NBC shapeshifter. This is a crazy clip from 1995 that is one of the first reptile men clips you can find on the internet. If you haven't ever heard of the theory of the reptile man, well, it goes like this. People believe that as far back as the ancient Mesopotamia times that reptile people have existed among us humans. A lot of people believe that Hollywood is specifically where a lot of them reside. Anyways, this is a clip of an NBC reporter from the 90s by the name of Isaiah Carey, who was in the middle of filming when he swallowed a grasshopper. If you zoom in to the point where he swallows it, you can observe him having an abnormally large, somewhat pointy tongue, and the color is slightly green. The reporter turned away from the camera right as this happened. Most people think that he turned away from the camera to hide his tongue, which is possible, but one could argue that it's more likely because this is something so gross and embarrassing that happened on live TV. Do you think this is a reptile man and perhaps the CIA has suppressed this video due to the fact that it could reveal this alien race? Let me know in the comment section down below. In our number 1 spot, we have the fast UFO. This is more footage that the US government released showing an unidentifiable object in the sky. In this footage, you actually see an object moving in the sky, and we can kind of pick up on the fact that it's an unusual shape. This particular UFO is moving pretty fast, and the camera is having a hard time keeping up. There's no question though that this is something that we've never seen before. The Pentagon wouldn't have released it if it didn't feel that it has validity. This was the final of the 3 Pentagon videos that were declassified and shared with us common folk. Oh, why thank you government for telling us that it's possible that alien life has come to Earth. As if we didn't already know this, and as if we are not aware of the fact that you definitely have more footage that you're keeping from us, CIA.
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have this hospital security footage. This video is surveillance footage from a hospital, which is for sure one of the worst places to have creepy, unexplainable things happen. Everything looks all fine and dandy before something weird starts kind of flashing in the middle of the screen. It's kind of hard to see, but it looks like it could be some sort of human figure. Okay, so maybe it's just a camera glitch, I'm willing to look past it and pretend like it never happened, but then this one gurney just starts moving all over the place, but no one is around at all. If it only moved a little bit, I would be like, yeah, okay, for sure, whatever, but that was just way too much for me to just ignore. I'm gonna say it, you guys, I think that it was a ghost. In our number 9 spot today, we have this Chernobyl tape. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video, because it really helps us out. This footage comes to us from the later 1980s when there was a nuclear disaster in Chernobyl. In April of 1986, there was an explosion and a fire from a nuclear reactor at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. This explosion happened when there was an issue as they were trying to begin an experiment which was set out to actually make the reactor more safe. Unfortunately, the way this reactor was designed placed too much responsibility in the hands of the operator. One thing led to another, and it was a huge disaster. The amount of radiation in the air caused alarms at the Forsmark nuclear power plant in Sweden, which was over 1,000 kilometers away. So it certainly wasn't anything to take lightly. The footage I'm about to show you is just a small glimpse into what things looked like soon after the explosion happened. I can't imagine how scary this must have been for everyone involved. Chernobyl today is still pretty much a ghost town, but there are actually people who still live there. Some of them never even left. In our number 8 spot today, we have this Milgram Experiment footage. This video comes to us from the 1960s, and it is from an experiment known as the Milgram Experiment. Basically, the premise was that they took 2 groups of people, one called teachers and one called learners, and then they paired them up, one from each group. The pair couldn't actually see each other, but the teacher would ask the learner a question. If the learner got the question wrong, the teacher was then told to give them an electric shock. Every question that they got wrong, the shocks got worse and worse and worse until there would eventually be a fatal shock administered.
This one will be 195 volts. The correct one.
Let me out of here.
Slow. Dance.
Get me out of here. My heart's bothering me.
Before the experiment, it was only proposed that 3% of the participants would go all the way and actually give the fatal shock, but it turned out that under pressure, 65% of the teachers actually gave the lethal dose of electricity to their learner counterparts. Luckily, the learners were actually just actors, so no one was truly getting hurt or shocked to death in this experiment, but it honestly is still very creepy and very disturbing to see these poor people being pushed so far past their boundaries.
You're gonna get a shock. 180 volts.
I can't stand the pain. Let me out of here.
Stand it now. I'm not going to kill that man there. I mean, who's going to take the responsibility if anything happens to that gentleman?
I'm responsible for anything that happens here. Continue, please.
In our number 7 spot today, we have this Willowbrook State School footage. This video comes from a place called the Willowbrook State School and is one of the most upsetting things I think I have ever seen in my life. Willowbrook was located in the Willowbrook neighborhood of Staten Island, New York, and it operated from 1947 to 1987, and it was a school for children with learning disabilities. Unfortunately, at this time, children with learning disabilities were treated horribly, and the children at this school suffered greatly. The school was only meant to have 4,000 kids, but it had 6,000 by 1965, which caused a huge overcrowding problem. There were outbreaks of hepatitis, mostly hepatitis A at the school, which caused there to be some medical studies done at the school. These medical studies should have been a positive thing, but things took a dark and disturbing turn when the researchers decided that the right thing to do would be to feed 60 healthy children a live sample of the virus. I can't even believe that there was a moment that people thought, wow, what a great idea, but it happened and obviously the children suffered greatly. I'm not gonna show any of the footage on here in this video because it really just isn't for everyone to watch, and the fact that they're children really makes it even more uncomfortable than it already is, but it is on the internet if you choose to go and watch it on your own time. In our number 6 spot today, we have this Bigfoot caught on tape video. This video is said to have caught the Russian Bigfoot on tape. Before I get into this one, I have a genuine question. Is there a Bigfoot for every place, or is there one Bigfoot that we're all trying to catch? I know Bigfoot isn't real, but I'm just wondering what is the deal with that? Anyways, the exact location of where this video was taken is unknown. In fact, there isn't a ton known about this video at all, but what is known is that it was taken somewhere in Russia and that people believe it captures the real Bigfoot. It's a short clip, so I'm just gonna show you guys and you can decide what you think for yourselves. What do you guys think that was? If Bigfoot is real, I bet he's really tired of everyone trying to snap a video of him. In our number 5 spot today, we have this red door video. This is some more hospital footage because one is just never enough. This video starts off with just a flickering light, but as the person filming walks down the hall, the red door at the end begins to open and slam shut repeatedly. Once they reach that red door that was opening and slamming shut, they realize that nothing is there and that the door doesn't actually go anywhere. It is just the door that leads to the pipes that supply water in case of an emergency. The people filming start inspecting it to see what could have caused the opening and closing when they begin to hear banging coming from another door further down the hallway. They go to check it out, but they find nothing and no one again. Honestly, you guys, when I saw that red door didn't lead to anywhere, I was so upset. Like, I honestly don't know how they could have faked this one. I hate it. I don't want it to be real. In our number 4 spot today, we have this really old footage. Okay, so this one is an interesting one. It's not necessarily super creepy like ghosts, and it doesn't have a crazy, scary background to it, but it honestly made me feel uncomfortable while I was watching it. This video comes from some of the oldest recorded footage we have, which is kind of cool. I found this video in a montage of a bunch of happy footage that is also really old, and this one really stood out to me. The video shows 2 wealthy women handing out change to poor children, but it's quite a sight. These children are so small and running around collecting the change off the ground, and it's really sad to watch. In our number 2 spot today, we have this historic home tape. This footage came from a camera that was found at a historic home by a company that works specifically with historic homes. The footage shows a few people just exploring around this abandoned home, checking out whatever there is going on in this creepy house. We don't get to see what it is, but something very obviously freaks them out, and they're pretty scared while filming, and then something weird happens.
This door is like pizza.
Hello?
This is where the footage from this camera ends, and then the rest of the video is footage from another camera that was found at the same location and clearly belongs to the same group of people. The audio is pretty distorted at some parts, which really adds to how creepy the video already is.
I'm going back!
I'm not exactly sure what happened or who these people are, but something spooky was definitely going on in that house. In our number 1 spot today, we have this dash cam footage. This video is obviously from someone's dashboard camera as they are driving one night, but I doubt they were expecting to capture what they did. As they are driving, they see something that they are about to hit, but it comes up at the last second, really out of nowhere. Obviously, this was very strange, so he goes back to scope out the situation further when he sees this. Did you guys see that ghostly figure just waltzing across the road like it didn't just get hit by a car? I guess the ghost probably doesn't care, but what the heck? Definitely not what I expected to see on a dash cam. That's for sure.
Starting our list off at number 10, the Red Door. Okay, if you're a fan of Haunting of Hill House, this first one here should tickle your fancy. Here we go. I'm terrified already. This is some hospital footage because, you know, why not? This video starts off with a flickering light, but as the person filming walks down the hallway, the door at the end begins to open and close repeatedly. Like this, check it out. Now, once they reach said red door that was opening and, you know, slamming shut, they realize nothing is there and it doesn't really go anywhere. The door just leads to pipes, like water supply pipes in case of emergencies, you know what I mean? So they're inspecting it to see what have caused the opening and closing when they began to hear banging coming from another door further down the hallway. And then, of course, like Looney Tunes, they go and check out that one as well. When they check it out, they find nothing and nobody. Honestly, you guys, when I saw the door at the end, when it didn't lead anywhere, I was upset. I was like, oh, someone's faking it. Maybe someone's there, you know, doing something on the other side. Nope, just terrifying. There we go. Number 9, historic home tape. No, not one of those home tapes, you freaks. That's another video. This footage comes from a camera that was found at a historic home by a company that works specifically with historic homes. So specific. The footage found shows a few people just exploring around this abandoned home, checking out whatever's going on in creepy houses, you know, whatever we do on weekends. Apparently people like to explore abandoned stuff, because why not? We don't get to see what it is, but something very obvious freaks them out and they're not having it. They're scared while they're filming and then something else weird happens. Check it out.
Hello?
Now this is where the footage from one camera ends and then another camera's footage begins. There we go. It's like, here's a sequel for you. The audio is pretty distorted at parts, which kind of makes it scarier, but check out the other part as well. I'm not exactly sure what happened or who these people are, but something's going on in here. You know what? I'm tapping out. Let's move on. Number 8, Barton Mansion Ghost. This video is from 2001. Somebody explored through the Barton Mansion in California because, like I said earlier, some people like doing that for some reason. This mansion is said to be the home of tons of sinister happenings, satanic rituals, paranormal activity. It's even said that a demon haunts the top floor. It's kind of cool though, demon haunting the top floor. He's like, I shot to the top bunk, and then just floats around. It's said that the night before this video was taken, a group had broken into the abandoned basement, and there they found a creepy configuration of stones surrounding a piece of meat. They came back the next day to take some more video footage of the place, and the part of the video that I wanted to show you is basically a first-person view as somebody explores through said mansion. And it's when they spot something that none of us wanted to see, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Here we go. What exactly did he see there? I have no idea. If you have any ideas, put in the comments down below because I won't be able to sleep. Great. Number 7, clown sightings. This footage comes again from another home surveillance camera, and I feel like these things always catch the creepiest happenings. I just did a doorbell camera video where the dude's licking the guy's doorbell. That's the worst thing I've seen in ages. This time, when the homeowner went to check their footage, they were greeted by an extremely creepy clown. Yeah, I'm not sure if you remember years back when there was like a clown craze. Everyone just wanted to be clowns for some reason and hang out next to the highway. That was weird. I'm hoping that's where this video comes from, but again, there's no explanation, so we just gotta dive in and wonder.
Grabs a pumpkin and then tears it apart. The clown stares awkwardly at the camera before disappearing into the darkness.
I like that the reporter commented that the clown looked awkward at the camera before leaving. Yeah, awkward. That's for sure the word I would use for this encounter. Awkward. Not terrifying. Number 6, Blockbuster Ghost. Oh, a classic. For those of you who don't know, before the age of streaming and, LimeWire, Netflix, all that amazing technology, we had to go to a store with our legs and our families. We had to put on our winter coats to go rent a movie. And sometimes we got there and there was only widescreens left of said movie. That was always the worst. You're like, I guess. I would go in and hide a video sometimes, and then come back with my family, we'd find it, and then rent it. Now, as many good memories that rest there in Blockbuster, there's also some haunting ones. This surveillance camera footage shows an employee, after closing, restocking some of the shelves in the store, and then they notice something flying off one shelf while they're stocking it. And when he finishes stocking one shelf, he moves on to the next, but one video on the shelf he just worked on immediately falls off. Okay, maybe he put the video on the shelf in a, awkward angle. It wasn't a tight 45, maybe it was one of those and it kind of slipped down. It happens. But when he walks away, it flies off the shelf again. Now at this point, I would have already dipped, I would have signed out, maybe even quit my job, who knows. But he goes back, picks the video up, and he walks away again, but this time a video on the other shelf falls down right in front of him, and then as he reaches to pick that video up, another video falls, and then a third one falls. And then he understandably runs off after that. That's just, yeah, to be honest, at that point, I would leave. I would leave after the first video fell, if I'm being honest. Number 5, witch caught on tape. I am terrified of witches. I don't like this one. Okay. This video comes from Mexico and it's said to be a sighting of a witch flying through the air. I love this video. I saw this long before I started working here and it's been rent-free, just sitting right in there. I don't like how slow she's going too. Like, she's not in any rush. The people who recorded the video said they could see the figure wearing a cape, which is why, of course, we all assume that it's a witch. And also, she's flying through the air, so there's that too. Just to add another layer of to this already kind of weird video, police officers from the area also explained that they had seen some sort of witch-like creature before this footage was even captured. They said they saw some sort of creature dressed in all black with huge claws, and it had their head hanging down low. Like, imagine a police officer, I'd be like, what? Go get that thing then. What are you talking about? Is that a gargoyle? I've seen Lord of the Rings. Can we close the city? That's terrifying. That's a Demigorgon. Number 4, Creeper in the back. Not creeper in the front, that's a different video. This is creeper in the back. Here we go. With so much of the world working from home and needing to do Zoom calls all the time, and now we're just comfortable and no one wants to go back to the office, so we're just gonna keep doing it forever, I guess. After you see this clip, you're gonna be looking over your shoulder every time you're in a meeting in the future. Yeah, you don't want anything like that creeping around your house at any point. When you're looking or not looking, honestly. The sad part is that guy looked like he was having a good time. Maybe he got a promotion on this Zoom call, you know, whatever was going on. He was loving it until, you know, the scary demon apparatus cloud monster thing appeared, of course. Then it kind of went downhill. Now I don't know what the aftermath is of this video, so if you want peace or sleep tonight, I can't help you. I'm not the guy for you. I just report the videos and go, that's scary. Next. Number 3, the clip. This is a video that's titled Clip 95 MP4, and after watching it, honestly, I'm good with the other 94, to be honest. I wish I could explain to you guys what's going on in this video, but again, like the rest of them, I have no idea. That's why I included them. They're really baffling. It's a weirdly put together VHS tape, montage, whatever, that features some strange looking people in masks, a weird thing that maybe looks like a clock, and then a whole bunch of, it's just bad vibes. You know, Chris, just bad vibes going on. It's just not the mood for us. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to find out, again, like the rest. I don't know what's going on with the clock symbolism here either. It's very specific. I feel like I'm late watching this video. Like I have like the anxiety going on now. Number 2, the chair. Not to be confused with the WWE wrestling move, the chair. This is way less fun, this one. I grew up watching the big comfy couch. I love comfy couches and comfy chairs. I'll sit on both all day long. A rocking chair as an adult, I'll be asleep in minutes. I love this. Except for when it's haunted and it just rocks by itself. Then in that case, I don't want to buy that, no thank you. This is a video of exactly that. It's a chair that is said to have been purchased, used just a couple of days prior, and let me tell you, I hope they kept a receipt. My grandma had a rocking chair, and she said that it would move on its own from time to time. Isn't that terrifying? My grandma told me that when I was like 8. And finally, number 1, VHS for sale. This VHS tape was found at an estate sale that was being held in a barn. Now the person who uploaded this tape found them in 10 boxes that they had purchased, amongst, you know, other things such as records, rusted tools, old paint cans, just borderline garbage, and they're like, ah yes, I'll paint it a different color and sell it for $1 more. And then, you know, sure. This video shows somebody walking through some sort of mildly wooded area in the daytime, which, okay, yeah, fine, that's all great and dandy, but then it cuts to a night scene immediately, and that's when the uncomfortable feelings start to rise up. That's when I feel like I'm gonna throw up on my keyboard watching this video. I have absolutely no idea what the white thing being dragged is, but hey, guess what? I don't want to find out. There we go. What a fun list that was. Kicking off the list at number 10, doorbell lawn camera. We'll start with a recent doorbell cam recording, okay? Those are always terrifying. Every time I see one of these, first of all, I think of the Paranormal Activity franchise. I get so creeped out just looking at them. This video was submitted by Robert Parks. Now it shows the lawn, his front lawn, around 4 a.m. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a naked man appears. That's always fun. Yeah, he was trying to cover up his, you know, goods, or not goods rather, but given the fact that he was still, you know, naked, it was pretty horrifying after the fact. You can't hear it because we had to mute the audio, obviously, but he's yelling about snakes being all over him. Yeah, luckily police arrived and gave the man the help he needed, but imagine somebody going through a rough time. Like, I feel bad, but you also have to stay safe at the same time. You can't have a naked dude running inside your home talking about snakes on a plane or whatever. Number 9, Bigfoot caught on tape. This video is said to have caught the Russian Bigfoot himself. Also, Russian Bigfoot, another Bigfoot, are there many Bigfoots? We'll talk later. The exact location of where this video was taken is still unknown. In fact, there isn't a ton known about this video at all, hence why it's on our list today. But what we do know is that it was taken somewhere in Russia and that people believe it captures the real Bigfoot. It's a short clip that captures him, so I'm just gonna show you guys and then you can decide for yourselves. Comment down below. I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence personally. If Bigfoot was real, it's time we pay up. I mean, come on. This man's image has been used in the media for years. How is he paying his bills? Also, is there one Bigfoot or multiple? Is there a Russian Bigfoot? Is there a Canadian Bigfoot? Is Chris the Canadian Bigfoot? I don't know. Maybe. He wears a lot of plaid, who knows? Number 8, Matt doesn't live here. Okay, this one I need your help on. There's a backstory that I need to figure out right now. Back in 2016, in the middle of an August summer night, this man approaches. Again, topless, always a great sign, just naked dudes approaching homes all of a sudden. And he's slowly approaching and he's looking back at somebody off camera. He has a look like he's about to rob the place almost. It's kinda, he's doing this. He's kind of tiptoeing in and out. It's not looking good. But instead of knocking and running like we all did when we were 15 years old, he pretends to knock. He knocks the air and then pretends to ask somebody who's not there if Matt is home. I don't know if he did this so the other person could see, maybe it was like a prank or a dare, or maybe it was an attempt to break in and we just didn't really connect all the dots, or he didn't follow through with the plan, or he chickened out, I don't know. Either way, I'm glad nothing really bad happened. So creepy, either way. Number 7, Milgram Experiment footage. This video comes to us from the 1960s, and it's apparently from the experiment known as the Milgram Experiment. Basically, the premise was that they got two groups of people, okay? One called the teachers and one called the learners, and they paired them up, one from each group. So far, so good? Awesome. The pair couldn't see each other, but the teacher would ask the learner a question. The teacher was then told to give them an electrical shock. Yeah, every question made the shocks get worse and worse until an eventual fatal shock would be administered.
It'll be 195 volts. The correct one.
Let me out of here.
Slow.
Let me
Dance.
out of here. My heart's bothering me.
Now, before the experiment, it was proposed that only 3% of the participants would go all the way and would actually give the fatal shock. But it turned out that under pressure, 65% of the teachers actually gave the lethal dose of electricity to their learner counterparts. Now, luckily the students were actually just actors, so nobody was truly getting hurt here, hence the experiment. But it is honestly very creepy to see on footage. We always heard about this, but seeing it happen, it does something in here that I don't really like. Number 6, TV head. Stepping away from the worst of the worst or the weird or whatever's going on in that last video, let's shine the spotlight on some, I guess, creative happenings, dare I say? Like for example, the guy wearing a TV on his head. Apparently that's a thing now. Awesome. In Toronto, we have a guy that walks backwards around the city. And then here in Virginia, they have a guy who wears a TV on their head. So back in 2019, this man would appear all over in Virginia. He visited more than 50 residents in his time, and he would show up with a TV as a head, and then if that wasn't already creepy enough, he would leave an old TV on your doorstep in the middle of the night, and then just leave. That's so annoying to move. Also, it is pretty creepy. Many believe this man was inspired by the comic book series Saga. There's a race of TV alien heads. This could be a fan of, Prince Robot IV. Either way, this is annoying. You're walking on our property, you're leaving TVs. I wouldn't lift this up. Are you kidding? My brittle back? I couldn't lift a TV. I can't even lift a laptop now. Get out of here. Number 5, Salem Road. This video shows a couple guys driving in a truck down a road in what looks to be like a very rural area. It's not too bright or fun. Now they're just two guys being dudes hanging out, blasting some Coldplay, whatever you do with your dudes on the weekends. Now you know a little bit more about me. All of a sudden they come across a woman dressed in white walking down the middle of the road. So they turn down their Coldplay, probably, and they swear a bunch. Obviously they're in shock. Just a woman walking down in the middle of the road in what appears to be the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden these men driving up behind her. It looks bad from both point of views, know what I mean? They stop the truck and one of them gets out to go check on her to see if she's okay, because she's walking kind of, ghoulish. She's got like the ghoulish walk. Now the guy continues freaking out. He's telling them to get out of there, and the other guys don't believe him until they realize that seemingly out of nowhere this lady is now right in front of their truck. Awesome, we love phantoms. The video ends with this clip. I'm not sure who or what this lady was or what's going on here, but that's all I gotta say. One of these. Number 4, overnight break-in. This next found footage comes from a doorbell camera, one of my favorites, and it shows the terrifying moment a stranger begins trying to break into a woman's home. This is my worst fear, if I'm being honest here. She starts off by backing up and throwing her body into the window until it finally breaks. Now the stranger wasn't in any immediate danger or anything like that, but it does appear as though she may be a little bit confused about her whereabouts, which is obviously sad when you look at it. The woman whose home is obviously freaked out. More than fair. I mean, imagine this happening out of the blue, middle of Survivor finale. You're like, what's that sound? What is that? Yeah, that ought to be jarring. Eventually, a police officer showed up and spoke to the woman who claimed that her friend was in the house. Now, obviously, this was not the case, but this is why I believe she may have been a little confused as to where she was. In the end, it just so happens that alcohol had a little something to do with it, so everyone was okay. It was just a rough night. You know what I mean? Number 3. Chernobyl footage. Okay, this one comes to us from the later 1980s when there was a nuclear disaster in Chernobyl, obviously. I don't have to go into detail about this one. In April of 1986, there was an explosion and a fire taking place at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. This explosion happened when there was an issue and they were trying to begin an experiment which was set to actually make the reactor more safe, but in turn it didn't work out. Unfortunately, the way the reactor was designed placed too much responsibility in the hands of an operator. One thing led to another, and it was this huge, tragic disaster. The amount of radiation in the air caused alarms at the Forsmark nuclear power plant in Sweden. Footage I'm about to show you is just a small glimpse into what things looked like soon after this took place. I can't imagine how scary this must have been for everybody involved. Even watching it is disturbing, to be honest with you. Chernobyl today is still pretty much a ghost town, but there are people who live there. Some of them never even left in the first place. Number 2, doorbell licker. And immediately back into the weird stuff. This was one of my favorites, I have to include it. This was short and sweet, not much explaining to do here. Just a dude going up on a doorbell. Back in 2019, a man was caught on surveillance approaching a home in a neighborhood in Salinas, California. He doesn't say much, he just shows up and, well, like I said, starts licking the doorbell. Just goes to town on this button. Not the camera, the actual button, the actual doorbell itself. He rang the bell apparently hundreds of times. He did this for hours straight. Now the homeowner said in a following interview after seeing the footage, "Oh boy, that is weird." Yeah, see me, I would laugh hysterically, and then after I'd be like, okay, we have to move. Number 1, overnight visitor. This video was taken from a surveillance camera that was placed inside of a couple's home. Yeah, inside, not outside, in. Having a camera inside of your home isn't too common, but sometimes you're lucky you have one. Like this example. These people had one because what it caught while they were sleeping is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life. When the couple woke up one day, they were unable to find a purse that they knew was in the house before they went to go to sleep, right? They're like, this pretty much is right there next to my chapstick. I know where my chapstick is. So they decided to check their handy security camera, and this is what they found. As it turns out, the couple fell asleep on the couch watching TV, and as they were sleeping there, a man crept in, and he was so quiet he didn't even wake them or their dog up. Yeah, he stood at the top of their stairs watching them sleep for a few minutes, which just adds another layer of, I'm gonna shit my pants, and then that's it, Bob's your uncle. I wouldn't even keep this tape, I would throw it out. This is cursed in itself. I'm glad the robber only took the purse and didn't do anything else. How scary is that?
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the cold case evidence. This video was posted to TikTok by a user named Sarah Turney. Sarah has quite a crazy TikTok story because she actually used the app to help solve a horrible crime that happened to her own sister. When Sarah was young, her sister Alyssa went missing and no one was ever charged with the crime, but Sarah always knew it was her dad and set out to prove it and have him charged so that she could bring justice for her sister. Sarah released some VHS footage on TikTok that ended up going absolutely viral. Apparently her dad would follow Alyssa around and film her, and later they found out that he had a camera hidden in their house, which is just very bizarre behavior. This video is one of many that Sarah posted on TikTok and shows when her dad followed Alyssa to her fast food job and was sitting in the parking lot filming her. While this video is creepy on its own, since it's very obvious that she doesn't want to be filmed, it is even more creepy considering all that we now know. Luckily, Sarah's TikTok worked. Later in 2020, her dad ended up being arrested and charged with the disappearance and presumed death of Alyssa, which is a huge win for both her and Sarah. In our number 9 spot today, we have the cursed Mothman. This video starts off with someone walking and searching around some sort of like a park area. It's dark out, so all you can really see is what is illuminated by their light. The camera person is seemingly a bit frantic as they are really moving and filming all over the place. After a few seconds, as the camera moves, we start to see a bunch of what at first looks like butterflies moving around. Strange behavior in general, especially for that time of night. Soon, however, we realize that these are not butterflies, they're moths. Ever heard of the tales of the Mothman? Well, you're about to. As the camera follows the moths, it quickly pans up and reveals the creature himself, the Mothman, hanging upside down, looking creepy as ever. The tales of the Mothman started back in 1966, and while some swear he is just a legend, there are plenty of people who believe that the Mothman is real, and a few even claim to have seen him. Is this proof of his existence? In our number 8 spot today, we have the dark web coordinates. The people who posted this video explained that they received coordinates on the dark web. When they traveled to the coordinates, they found this tape that we're going to be talking about, as well as a collection of other things all said to belong to a killer. I feel like this tape would have still been creepy without knowing the backstory, but it is 1,000 times creepier having those details. The video is fairly long, and while not a lot happens in it, there is certainly something sinister going on. It's basically just a video of a guy digging a hole with a shovel. Okay, on the surface, not too bad. Belong to a killer, gets really bad. We hear him in his car as he arrives at the location. We hear him digging, and you can even see him pick up an object wrapped in a black garbage bag and put it into a hole. You can't really see him, in fact you can't really see much, it's a VHS after all, but there's definitely enough to know what is going on. All I have to say is that I really hope that this video is fake. In our number 7 spot today, we have the cursed cesspit. I came across this video on Reddit one evening and it quickly sent a shiver down my spine. If you've seen the 2022 horror movie Barbarian, I hope you'll get me when I say This video kind of reminds me of that movie, of course, in the creepiest way. This video appears to have been taken in some sort of tunnel. It's very much giving catacombs energy. As the tape rolls on, we slowly start to see some sort of a shadowy figure creature begin to pop its head out from behind the wall. First a little bit, but progressively they peek out more and more. Whatever this creature is, it's easy to spot with its glowing eyes. As the video gets close to the ending, we see the creature peek out quite far, but when the camera operator picks it up and starts moving closer to the creature, it quickly disappears again before the video just ends. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Chernobyl tape. This footage comes to us from the later 1980s when there was a nuclear disaster in Chernobyl. In April of 1986, there was an explosion and fire from a nuclear reactor in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. This explosion happened when there was an issue as they were trying to begin an experiment which was set out to actually hopefully make the reactor more safe. Unfortunately, the way this reactor was designed placed too much responsibility in the hands of the operator. One thing led to another, and it was a huge disaster. The amount of radiation in the air caused alarms at the Forsmark nuclear power plant in Sweden, which was over 1,000 kilometers away, so it certainly wasn't anything to take lightly. The footage I'm about to show you is just a small glimpse into what things looked like soon after the explosion happened. I can't imagine how scary this must have been for everyone involved. Chernobyl today is still pretty much a ghost town, but there are people who live there. Some of them never even left in the first place. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Grizzly Man. I want to start off this point by saying that we will not play the tape for this one. It is much too gruesome. If you want to, you can go look it up for yourself, but I will tell you that it can be very scarring, and I just wouldn't recommend it. You know, viewer discretion is advised. These tapes were the last thing that was left behind by Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend. Timothy Treadwell was known as the Grizzly Man. He spent 13 years in and out of living with bears, which for most would sound like the most terrifying thing that you could imagine. But for him, he wanted to show the world that you could live with bears and that they were not an animal to be feared. Well, even though he was able to spend over a decade in their presence, that would eventually lead to his death. Timothy was making a documentary about bears, so during that time he was with them and he was filming them. One day while he was with one of the grizzly bears and his girlfriend, the bear turned on him and killed him and his girlfriend. You can't see what is happening, but all you can hear is the audio, and it is terrible. In our number 4 spot today, we have The Cabin in the Woods. This creepy video was apparently filmed in 1988 and was found in a scary abandoned log cabin deep in the forest in Poland a few decades later. The footage shows whoever is operating the camera walking around filming the log cabin. They end up getting to an open window and are kind of just focused on it and studying it when all of a sudden, out of the blue, it just snaps shut. At the same time that the window shuts, a paranormal sounding yell can be heard, but no one is around and the camera goes blank. I'm not really exactly sure what happened here, but I would have been out of the cabin as fast as I could possibly go. In our number 3 spot today, we have the home video. Well, this video is bizarre on several levels, and it's not just the video itself, it's all of the stories that go along with the video. So first, let's take a look at what it is. Now, this video was filmed in the 90s and then popped up again on the internet, and the whole thing is it's like a bunch of strange edits and grainy, distorted footage. It jumps around from place to place, but that's not even the weirdest part. The weirdest part is the audio that you can hear in the back of the video. It sounds demonic, like there's some sort of creature that is trying to communicate through the video. But that's just where the creepy stories start. There are a list of people who have said that they've heard hidden messages through this video. Some people say they see a demonic figure pop up only to have it be disappeared when they rewind the footage. There are even stories of people being brainwashed by this tape to do evil things. In our number 2 spot today we have the found footage. This found footage is said to have come straight from the back rooms. It starts off as anyone would expect, the hum, the bland lighting, the seemingly infinite rooms, but this one goes on to become a little different. As this person walks through the hallways, not only can we hear a creepy sort of distorted breathing sound, but they come to find that they might not be as alone as you'd like to be when it comes to the back rooms. They eventually come across a room that is full of strange looking mannequins. Some are missing limbs, some are on the ground, some are just in strange poses, one even has a hand sticking out of its neck where the head should be. As the person continues to walk into the next room, here they are greeted with a gigantic, worn down mannequin head. They stand there taping it in the room for a while, but right before the video cuts out, we hear whoever is taking the video gasp. Who knows what ended up happening to them. In our number 1 spot today we have the arsonist. This video is definitely dark and just very disturbing. It is a video of an arsonist who had just lit a huge fire. He stands a decent distance away filming the fire and commenting on his work, and man did it ever give me the chills. It's obviously someone who is very proud of the destruction that they are causing. You can hear the fire truck sirens in the background on the way to the scene, which honestly just adds another layer of creepiness in my opinion. The fact that he is willing to stick around and film this definitely increases his chances of getting caught, but I feel like that also shows just how badly he wants recognition for his insane crimes. Watching this video honestly made me feel like I was on a Criminal Minds episode and that I needed to profile who this man was.